Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to our March 3rd, 2016 Mifos Developer Meeting. My name is Edward Cable. I'm the Director of Community Programs, and the focus of this meeting is primarily going to be the showcase of the work our Outreachy interns have done over the past several months. But we're going to cover a few other topics, including just a brief introduction for our aspiring GSOC students. So I'm going to move forward and give you the brief rundown on what our agenda is for today. So we're going to start out, as we always do with each call, with a round of introductions of everybody on the call. Then we're going to go through just a couple general announcements, and then we're also going to provide you updates on the ongoing development. Then we'll move into a brief introduction of our Google Summer of Code program, and then the majority of the meeting will focus on the showcases from our Outreachy students. Announcements related to development. So we have our upcoming Global Developer Summit and the first gathering of our community as an Apache Fineract project. And so that's coming up next week in Amsterdam from March 9th to 11th. And so hopefully we'll get to see some of you in person. But if you're not able to make it, we will be aiming to record all the sessions and upload them to YouTube shortly thereafter. You can check out the agenda at the website there. And we'll also be doing a small hackathon on the 11th there. So hopefully we'll be getting some work done. And also, we'll be refining a lot of the ideas and projects we're looking to work on for Google Summer of Code. And then the next item is just online training we're going to have for partners. And so this training is really geared towards those partners that want to begin building new modules or being able to extend the platform and community app. So this is going to be a group-based online training. It's going to be 8 hours total, spread across 2 days. It'll be $125 per attendee, and that'll be a good investment if you're a partner looking to scale up technically. And you can see the topics that are going to be covered. But really, it's going to give an overview of the data model, the APIs, helping walk through some examples, making sure you know how to contribute to the community app, etc. And so folks that are looking to join that can register and pay at the link on the screen. And we'll be sending out these meeting notes as well, so you have all this information. So next up, in terms of just some development updates, so most of the development that's been happening since our last developer meeting has centered around getting the Mifos X code base Apache compliant as we've moved the Mifos X platform over towards the Apache Fineract brand and having it hosted as part of the Apache Software Foundation. And especially for our aspiring GSOC students, if you want to learn more about the transition to becoming an Apache project, you can watch the webinar that's linked to above, and you can find it. I think it's the top video or the most recent video, or Mifos Tech YouTube channel, and that's helpful just to understand what's the distinction between Mifos X, the community app, the Android app, and Apache Fineract. And here are a few links to the infrastructure for Fineract and the code base. So if you want to subscribe to the dev list there or see what issues we've migrated over. So basically what was previously the Mifos X platform is now Apache Fineract, and all code development will happen there as part of the Apache project. And then within the Mifos initiative, we still maintain and do development for Fineract, but the code lives over under Apache. And then we will be primarily driving development on the community app, the Android client, and any other additional apps and modules. And so those apps, modules, and other enhancements on top of the platform are what the community will be working on underneath Mifos Initiative for Google Summer of Code. And here's just a listing of some of the items that was worked on to make Fineract Apache compliant. And so that primarily just centered around removing anything that conflicted with the Apache licenses. And so we have all that work done apart from removing the Hibernate dependency. And then for all of these items that have been changed to Apache compliant resources, we will still provide the original one as part of the Mifos X distribution that'll be accessible from mifos.org, as the Apache build will simply be source code. And then on the Mifos X side, if you're looking to deploy the product, you can grab the production-ready build that will still have Pentaho, it'll still have Hibernate, and it'll still have all the similar components and resources that have been used for production before. And the last update just centers around the current status. So the codebase renamed Fineract with these updates mentioned above is now available on GitHub. And then we'll soon be making the first official Apache Fineract release once we've had a vote across the project management committee. And then we're looking to graduate out of incubation from Apache in the next 8 to 12 weeks when we call for a vote to become a top-level project. And I'm going to save any questions till the end since we have a packed agenda. So if you have any questions, please just type them in the chat and we'll go over them at the end of today's meeting. And as you know, with each quarter we do a major release. And so this is a summary of the major features that are going to be worked on for the first quarter of 2016. And there haven't been too many updates since our last developer meeting, since we put a code freeze in place until the work to transition Mifos X over to Apache Fineract was completed. And now that that's been done, the core team's working on the feature development once again. So by our next community meeting, you'll see some progress here and see these new features being worked on. Moving along, the next topic of our agenda is just to do a brief introduction on the Google Summer of Code program. And so first off, welcome to our aspiring GSOC students. This will be the 5th year, as a community we've participated in Google Summer of Code, and then the 3rd year we've done it as a part of the Mifos initiative, because the first 2 years were while we were a project at Grameen Foundation. So we're really excited to be working with students once again. It's been a great experience before and a very valuable way to connect our mentors with bringing on students that can ultimately become long-term contributors. And the students that we've worked with before have worked on projects that have brought immediate value to our customers and really helped to have a significant impact on our mission to create a world of 3 billion Maries and end poverty, one line of code at a time. So I've been very excited to see all the interactions on the mailing list, and we just wanted to spend a couple moments today going over the program, the current timeline, and what you should be doing right now. And then we'll be scheduling another dedicated call and Google Summer of Code office hours for sometime during this discussion period. So first off, as you can see, we're in the discussion period right now. And so right now, we're still internally finalizing the project ideas and which mentors are assigned to which projects, but continue as you're doing in reaching out to mentors and being a part of the community and discussing ideas. And then the next phase of GSOC will be the application period. And so that's open for about 10 days. And you should be able to find our application format on the Google Summer of Code program website. It's also on our wiki. And then a big part of the application, and we'll cover it in the next slide, is just making sure you've submitted code and been an active part of our community. And then it won't be until April 22nd until the student selections are announced. And that process takes a little while, as Google first must decide which students have been accepted and how students are allocated across the different projects. And one other point of clarification here, since we are now becoming, Mifos X is becoming part of the Apache Foundation, we will have projects located in 2 places. So as I said before, all ideas and projects centered around our community app, modules, and mobile enhancements, those are going to be a part of the Mifos initiative, and that's the organization you'd apply to. And then we will have some projects that centered around what was previously the Mifos X platform, but which is now Fineract, and then those will be part of mentorship underneath the umbrella of the Apache Foundation. And so if you're looking for a project idea to work on for the Mifos initiative, that's a mobile app, the community app, or some module on top of the platform, you'll be able to find that on the ideas page on the Mifos wiki. And then if you're looking for a project related to Apache Fineract, that would be on our Apache Fineract issue tracker. And we'll send out more details about these distinctions, but just wanted to cover that at a high level today. And so in terms of advice for students right now, really as Nyan and others have been saying, like our golden rule is to become an active part of our community. So we want you to be out there and immerse yourself and just act like you are a member of our community. So don't hesitate to communicate and ask questions via our public communication channels, whether that be the mailing lists or our chat rooms. So introduce yourself, get in touch with mentors. Don't hesitate to ask questions, but first, try and find out answers yourself, as we do have extensive documentation out there. But we don't want you to be blocked, so we want you to get help when you need it. And then we want you to use this period of time to collaborate across the community. So use our wiki, use our documentation tools to find answers, but also improve documentation when you find areas that you got stuck on and can share your knowledge there. We also want you to use this as a time to learn about how our software works, understand the financial services to the poor and financial inclusion space. And so you can do that just connecting with others in the community and collaborating with them. And then lastly, as part of this immersion process, we want you to contribute. So we want you to get familiar with our stack and development environment. You should be able to find some type of ticket or task to work on. And then we want you to submit at least one pull request throughout this period, and that will help us to one, look at the quality of your code and how far along you are in terms of a developer, but it'll also help you to understand our contribution workflow and how we use GitHub and other version control systems. So that was just a brief rundown on Google Summer of Code. We have a jam-packed agenda with our Outreachy showcases, so I'm going to hold any questions related to Google Summer of Code till the end of our meeting, and then please just paste them in the chat if you've got them. And so next, I'm going to pass the controls on to begin one of our Outreachy showcases. So just a brief word on the Outreachy program. So Outreachy is relatively similar to Google Summer of Code, but it's a bit smaller in scale and goes on twice a year at different durations in Google Summer of Code. But we had the pleasure of working with 3 interns for the Winter 2015 round of Outreachy. And so each of our interns were Android developers, so it all focused around our current Android app for field officers. And so Olya, she's focused on implementing material design for the Android client, enabling more widespread offline functionality, adding in some location-based GIS features. And then she also, as bonus work that wasn't scheduled, did some extensive refactoring of the app so it can be easier to maintain and perform better going forward. And then Nelly has focused on a bucket of features and enhancements centered around phase 2 of the functionality in our Android field app. So this centers around having the ability to create new accounts, loan accounts, savings accounts, etc., create new centers and groups, add and attach fees, and other enhancements that add to the baseline of functionalities that were in place. And then Nasim has also been working on the Android app, and she's worked on implementing the mobile surveys user interface on the Android app. And then apart from that, she's also been doing some work enhancing our community app, which is built on AngularJS and is the web app that's used primarily by the back office staff to run the operations of a financial institution. So with that brief introduction, I'm going to pass the controls on to Nelly, and we'll let her do the first showcase. And I think Nelly will have about 15 minutes of work that she's demoing. So I'll just make you the presenter, Nelly. Or actually, Olya, since you've joined, that was the original order we were going to have. I'll make you the presenter, so I see that you're on now. So. Okay, Olya, I passed on the controls to you, and I think you're unmuted. So once you've got your screen shared, we'll let you start.
So, do you see my screen?
Yeah, we see the emulator now. So.
Okay, so previous time I had showed the demo of our first part related to material design, as well as part related to refactoring and architectural changes, where I showed our new architectural hierarchy of classes, like base activity, base fragment, preference manager, and managers to work with API. And also after this, I showed the first part of line mode that had included optimized working with API, and also we have rewrite all API calls using our new API manager. And after this, I started working on GIS integration, and today we'll show what I already did. So we log in application and search for some clients. And the first part is about pinpointing client locations. So when we open our client, we can go to menu and tap on pinpoint location. So here you can see the map, and if GPS is started on the phone, it will be loaded the current location. By the way, if the GPS is not working on the phone, or we have a slow internet connection, the current client location could be mapped manually and could be manually selected from map. By the way, if we detected our current location, we could just tap on the map and our pin will be added. But there is some problems with saving pinpoint. I have investigated our methods of saving information to the server side, and I didn't find any API methods to save the location to the server. I'm not sure, so probably I could ask Marcus, because I investigated also the code and documentation and didn't find how we could save the coordinates. So by the way, previously on client details fragment, we have some calls that probably saved the client location data, but now I was not able to find them. So at this stage, we only need to save the data, but it depends on server side. So you can see we are able to obtain the full graph. And please wait a minute. Okay, you are able to pinpoint the map.
Yeah, and we'll be able to follow up with Marcus, Adi, or Ishan as well to discuss saving it on server side.
Yeah, please wait a bit.
Olya. So. I think Olya is just getting her audio reconnected again.
Yes. Okay, so now you hear me. Do you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you, Olya.
And see my screen.
Yeah,
do you see my
your screens. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the next stage is about tracking the location of officer. And to track the location, we are going to the dashboard, and then just press track my path. And we currently have two buttons, start and stop tracking. That's made because we have to negotiate how we track the path. And here, if we press start tracking, we'll have notification and notification bar that path will not tracking. And even if we close application and then open from our notification bar, we will be navigated to this activity where have to stop our tracking. And also for this stage we have the same problem, so I wasn't able to find any methods on our backend to save this tracking path. And also all the coordinates that is tracking is transferred to Polyline. It's the official algorithm from Google developers, and this Polyline should be also saved on the server side to provide really cross-platforming and ability to work with these swatched coordinates from any device and to be able to show it on any other device. And as for the short task about navigation to the place of meeting, it also has impediment on server side. So currently we can't obtain our coordinates of meeting. So it should be easily done with standard services of that are provided by Google Maps, but we have dependency where we could get the coordinates of the meeting and how we could obtain it from backend. And also these polyline coordinates that we tracked, we should store in separate fields in database on server side, desirably. So and also I have submitted the pull request about these changes. You can see the screenshots that I provided, and also wait when Ishan could review it and match, and I'm planning to finish offline mode before the Monday, before the 7th of March, and write some summary about what I did and architecture improvements that are currently done. So this is for now all from my side.
Okay, and Olya, before you stop sharing your screen, since most of the folks on this call weren't on our internal showcase, are you able to briefly, summarize what you had done around material design and then what you've done for offline? And if you have, a few moments just to mention the architectural refactoring you did, that'll be helpful to have on this recorded showcase.
Okay, you mean the changes that I've done from the previous meetings as well?
Yeah, what you had showcased before.
Oh. Okay, so we currently have a base fragment and base activity components that should be used for any further for the changes and should be used for implementation new activities and fragment of the project. So we should follow up these guidelines. Also, it was reduced a lot of code by using a preference manager. I also created this instance to manage all work with shared preferences, because we have really a lot of duplicated code. And also of all API connections and all API calls should be done via API manager. And also the API manager supports changing endpoints on our application. So for example, if we change a main endpoint, our endpoint manager will provide working with a new base endpoint API without restarting the application. And also, I strongly recommend to follow our coding guidelines and do code review more carefully to avoid empty lines and duplicated code and some other stuff that don't follow our new architectural guidelines. Because if we wouldn't follow these guidelines, the offline mode will be very hard to maintain and to implement. So to implement and have offline mode really working, we should do all API interactions via API managers calls. So that is all from my side. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Olya. Okay, and so the material design that you also see implemented here, that's what Olya spent the first part of her internship working on. So that's also one
material
of the
design is fully implemented.
Yeah, so that was also one of the major contributions Olya made. So thank you, Olya. And then Nelly, I'll now make you the presenter, and we'll let you showcase your work. And I think you're the second, Nelly. I think I got the right one.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you, Nelly, and we see your screen now. So.
Yeah, and now I have a challenge because my machine is too slow, so I won't be able to show any demonstration. So I was trying to record on my phone the app, but I can just take you through what I've been doing. Okay. I took a few screenshots. Yeah.
Okay, great.
I did a slide presentation. So these were the issues I was working on. I was working on the ability to add feeds to client by the Android client, creating a new group, a new center, a new group clone, new savings account, approving the savings account, creating a new savings account, attaching documents to savings account, attaching to loan accounts, applying fees to loan accounts, dispersing loan via the Android client, approving the loan, creating the new loan, and adding more fields to the client creation process. So these are not all the issues that I worked on. There were some more issues that I'm supposed to work on that I haven't finished. And for the students who are applying for GSOC, we can talk about these issues so that you can assist me work on them as you start working on the project. Also, if you get any bugs on the issues that I've worked on, we can work on them together. So I'll just show you what I have. Sorry, just hold on a moment. Yeah, it's not that comprehensive, and I think the best way is just to have the APK so that you can see it. And I'm sorry, unfortunately, I can't show the real how it's supposed to be. But I added more fields to the client creation process. So right now we have the first, the middle name, last name, gender, male, the gender, the date of birth. Oh, sorry. Then this is more of the fields. I had a challenge first initially because I had never communicated with APIs before when working with Android applications. But right now, if any of the students who are new to, if you're new to Android and you don't know how to communicate to the APIs that we have, you can just talk to me. I can show you and guide you on how to work on that. Then you can now create a center. This is the form for the center. And I would like to thank Olya because the material design has really made the app much better. So that's adding savings account. I don't think this is an efficient way of doing a demo. It would have been better if I showed you the origin, the app itself. This is also part of the savings account. So for savings account, I just added all the fields that are mandatory, as you can see. So interest calculated, interest compounding period. All these are the mandatory fields. And if any of the GSOC students want to take up this, you can add more fields because there are more fields for savings account. It's a lot of fields, but this for the mandatory ones. So the extra ones are also important. We also have individual loan application. So I also provided the mandatory fields for individual loan application, but there's some more fields that you can add. For example, loan officer that I have not yet provided because it's not mandatory, but I think it's an important field. Then we have charges. Forgive the color since you can't be able to see. So this is adding charges to a particular client. There are 3 ways you can add charges. You can add charges in regard to the client, to the loan, or to the savings account. So this is a list of charges. And then when you click on the plus sign, you should be able to see this and add a loan. One thing I noticed about the loan, the charges list, I realized that my spinner, the admin fee part, the one that's showing the list of charges, only allows you to add test charges. So I need to filter that list. So if any of the GSOC students would like to help me with refining that would be nice. Then we have the option of activating your savings account, which was not there before. So it will give you this option. So you can select the approval date, the approved amount, and also give a note. So those are I have right now, the screenshots. But other than that, we have the ability to upload documents for savings account and loan account, and adding charges to the particular loan account and savings account. Yes, so I think when I send my pull request, we should be able to get the APK and run the file, though I can also send it to you via email if you'd like to get more information about it. I think the area that I worked on during this internship period has been a big area and I think most of the things that I've added, they can be fine-tuned, and the thing that I was working on for GSOC students especially. This is a great way to contribute. If you really want to contribute, you can just ping me, then I can give you tasks to do, because I know there's some areas that I would like to add more fields, but I can't. Yeah. So I think that was it. Then I just wrote some challenges that I faced while working and what I learned from them, so that because I realized we are going to have the GSOC students here and those who are going to apply. So these are some tips I can give you out. So you might have external factors that might affect and make you unable to accomplish your task. So make sure you talk to your mentors in time and be open about them. And when faced with challenges regarding the project, talk about them with your mentors. If a challenge is too hard for you, this is something I realized that I was taking time talking to my mentors about, and I think it really helps if you talk about the problems that you're facing in the project before it's too late. And then do not compare yourself with others. We all have different learning paces, and the good thing about Mifos is you can just ask any question and there's always someone who's there to help you. It doesn't matter what kind of questions you're going to ask. There's always someone to help you, and then it's a learning process. And as Ed said, before you ask a question, you should do research, because probably you'll find the answer on Google, Stack Overflow, and if it doesn't really make sense to you, you can still ask. Yeah, never give up, and constantly push your changes to the live environment. That's something that I think we never used to do, but for the new GSOC student, I'd like to encourage you to take that up. So I'd like to thank the Mifos team, the Outreachy team, and the other interns. That's the end of my presentation. Thanks, Ed.
Thank you, Nelly. That was very helpful, and thank you for being so introspective and forthcoming with the challenges and the great advice you're providing to the GSOC students. And so definitely on those tasks that still need to be fine-tuned or additional fields need to be added, let's go over those and then let's make some corresponding tickets, Nelly, as there are a lot of
Okay.
interested GSOC students, and these would be great items they could work on during this onboarding period. And then we'll make sure,
Okay.
that they can access the code such that they can contribute effectively. But thank you, Nelly.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then Nasim, if you're ready, I'll make you the presenter.
Yes.
Okay, you should have controls now. Yeah, we can see your screen.
Yeah, emulator. So this one is the dashboard, and I have added this survey in the menu. So you will choose a client from the list for whom you are going to take the survey. These are the active surveys pulled from the server. So this is the first question of that survey. So now it shows like it's the first question of 1 of 10. And so there are 10 questions in this survey. When I press next, it will show that you have not selected any option. So first I am selecting one option, then going next. So now it will show previous and next, 2 buttons. So it's the question 2 of 10, second question of this survey. So now you can go to next by scrolling or by pressing next. You have to choose one to go next, or you can go to previous. So you can go by scrolling or by these buttons. So it's now the 4 question of 4 of 10. So in the end, it will show the submit button. So press submit button to post your responses. You have reached the end of the survey. So it's the end. So when I press submit, it will submit the responses. Before you can go that previous and change your options too. It now supports all those features. As there is now still error in the survey API for posting the scorecard, you will see it won't post, but it's posting. If it gets fixed, it post. If you want to see my console, what the IDs it's captured, I can show you that if you're interested. Like these are the IDs it captured for questions. These are the IDs and response values, and it's trying to post also HTTP post to this survey 3 scorecard, and it's throwing the HTTP 500 error because of that internal survey error for API.
And Nasim, so when you hit previous, does it still persist like the value that it had?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
And
updates
you've got it.
when you change your value, it updates the previous record.
Okay. And then were you able to get implemented where if you navigate off that out of the app, that it'll still store the current progress?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Oh, the use case where if you switch to another application or you go back to the home screen, where you're able to come back to the same location in progress
No,
of the survey as you?
not that one. That one I have not implemented. That
Okay,
one.
that one you're still working on. Okay,
Yes.
that sounds good. And then did you want, if you have, since we still have time, did you want to show
Yes.
the
Yes.
Angular
Commnity
work
now?
you've done? Yeah.
Yes. Yes, I'll show now. So this is the client page. So these are the breadcrumbs. I put this blue these signs for breadcrumbs. Is this clear now for you? Do you see the breadcrumbs here?
Yeah, we can see the breadcrumbs with the chevrons now.
Yes. So you can go. This is the branch, and this is client and group. This is the first group.
Yeah,
So
we
you can
might,
go.
the blue looks kind of different on the gray there, so we might discuss with Garv later on and change some of the
Okay,
coloring.
I can change the color if you want different color. That's not a big big problem.
Okay.
So you want a different color for this?
Yeah, we can discuss that with Garv later.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So this is the group. This is the first group.
Okay.
And when you go to the loan, like when you go to the loan, so it displays everything branch, and this is the client group, and this is the this is the
Sender
client.
group client, yeah.
Yeah. And I made these changes too. You just told me to combine this side table in this case. So I made that. I combined that one. And this is summary table for the issue 970. I'm still working on this. I'll display the numbers here, and I made these changes. This one I compressed these two tables and made it one, like the client page you told me. So I did that one and did this breadcrumbs.
Okay, thank you, Nasim.
I'm still working on this, so there are few works left still.
Okay, thanks to all our Outreachy interns for their work over the duration of their internship period. They'll be wrapping up and finalizing their work by next week, and we'll quickly get to reviewing it and hopefully making it part of available the public repositories, and there'll also be documentation on the work they've done. And as Nelly said, if you have any questions about their experiences and working as an intern, share them with the Outreachy interns, and you can also connect with some of our former interns who have been a part of the project, and several of those interns are also Google Summer of Code mentors now, and that includes like Gaurav, Anruda, and Kojo, and there might be some other folks that used to be GSOC students who are now mentors too. So we still have about 10 minutes left, so I wanted to use that time to field any questions that might come up. And I myself am not a developer, but hopefully we won't have one of our developers on the call. But if it is a highly technical question, we can cover it later. But we do have Ishan still on, so field some Android-related questions. So I'll unmute everybody and open the floor to any questions that there might be. Okay, so if you do want to ask a question, feel free to unmute yourself.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead, Nelly.
I've seen a question from Vishwajit. I hope I got the name right.
Yeah, was it early in the
He
meeting?
says he sent, yeah, I think so. He sent a message in regard to sending a pull request earlier about some missing and I saw it. I don't. I think. Let me just get it now. Bishwajit, I think the pull request was rejected because you removed some fields, and I think what Ishan meant was that we should not remove fields that, even if they're extra fields, we should not remove them and remain with the standard one. And I think it's important to have the extra fields because it gives you more information compared to just having the standard mandatory fields.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I saw the
Okay.
other part
Yeah.
for validation of group name, and I think that's important. Thanks for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I want to clarify one thing. As in the web client, okay, in the Commnity app, there are not those checks which are provided by you in the application. And as I talked with, I think, Adi Raju on the Jitter, so he told me that there should be, or the checks should be same on the web part as well as the Android part. That's why I have removed some of the checks. And thank you. I understand. Yes, that's why I just commented out there. Yeah. So I think there is always a syncing. Like if you are having an Android client and at the same time web client, and suppose we have all the same checks and same fields, then we have a good syncing. So that's actually I wanted to implement.
Can I quickly comment here, Nelly?
Yes.
Yeah, Vishwajit, the thing is, I completely agree with Adi that there should be the same number of checks. So when he says same number of checks, he means if there are n checks on the web client, there can be n or more checks on the Android client, but it should not be less than n. Right? So it is always good to validate anything that you can, but I mean mandatory fields definitely have to be there. This is what Adi meant.
Yes.
If you are also validating the non-mandatory fields, it will not hurt anyone. It will be better, right? So that's what I meant.
Okay.
So if someone has put in effort to write a validation code, let's not get rid of it. Sorry.
Yeah. Sure. I got it.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I have one more question. Can I ask?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, Ishan, tell me, like there is one ticket for adding the signature field. Suppose like we can take a photograph of signature and upload it to the server. Okay, I don't have much knowledge of like how APIs are working in Mifos. Okay, I'm learning that. So like, is there already a field in server? Like suppose if I capture the, like, I know how to add an option of capturing signature, but I don't know how it will work in the backend. Can you help me with that, or like someone else? Like, is there already a field in the database for that? Because I don't find that option in the web app.
So there's something called documents and identifiers that we can upload. I think the Android app already supports documentation functionality, and like you can just take a picture of a document, and then from your phone you can upload that. But what they actually meant was not uploading a picture. What they want is that someone should sign on the screen, I guess, and that signature should get uploaded immediately.
So I can just to add to that, that's the issue I was looking into, and the best way to implement it was you save the signature that the person is going to sign on the phone as an image, then you save it to the DB. But I haven't gotten, I haven't been able to implement that yet. Yeah.
And then Ishan.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, and before we get to your question, Mohit, like Ishan, like on the Commnity app, there is the view client signature link from the client record. Is that pointing to just an image stored to the client, or is that pointing to some different like folder or files?
I'm not sure about that, but yeah, for the client thing, I mean, there would be an image for sure. What you can do on the Android is you can have a canvas on which you can draw when the user touches. So you can override the on movement method, and you can just draw wherever the hand goes on. that can be converted into a bitmap, and it can easily be stored on the server. For sure, the image would be stored in some or the other folder. And I have to look into that, but yeah.
But yes,
Okay.
and
So there
can
is
I
already
ask
a field in
something?
the server side, right?
There's no such field, but Mifos in general it supports documentation upload. So documentation could be anything. Let's say a passport or an ID card or anything, right? So signature could also be taken as a document, and you could supply that. But if there's a separate field, I'm not aware of that, to be honest.
Okay.
Ishan,
Yeah.
I wanted to ask something and add to that. I realized something when you're uploading any document on the web client, we're getting a 500 error. So there's something. Can you ask? Can you check on that? You can't upload. So for the mobile client, I've not been. I can get the list of documents, but
Give
I'm
me a
getting a
couple of days.
500 error.
I'll have to check with Marcus, and I'm not sure if he's available immediately. But yeah, we can for sure talk to him about that. But you'll have to wait for a couple of days.
No problem.
Hi Gaurav, you there?
Hello.
Yeah, Gaurav's on.
Yeah.
Gaurav, you there?
Yeah, I am there.
Yeah. My question is regarding community app enhancement. How do I get started with community app? I'm very interested to work in a AngularJS community app enhancement project. When are you going to release the starting guide?
Yeah, actually, I have already done with the starting guide. I have shared with the Ed and Nan that guide already, and was waiting for some of their comments. So then I can finalize that thing, and can definitely share it by tomorrow morning.
Gaurav, when I deployed my community app, I'm finding lots of problem in deploying.
Okay. What you can do is you can write me an email, or you can ping me anytime on Gitter. I will be available there also. So whatever issue you are coming in, then we can sort it out. Also, if you might be many times what happens is that we already have the issues you are coming into. You already many people might have occurred. So if you can look into previous archives of the mailing list, you might find that someone has already asked the same question, or someone has already had that similar doubt. So you can directly see that how they solved it, and you can get it done. That is one way if you want it quickly resolve it.
Thank you, Gaurav. I'm sure looking forward to you.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions from anybody or any of our aspiring GSOC applicants?
Okay. One note, Ishan, could you please include our architectural guidelines in the getting started document to be aware that everyone knows about it and everyone should follow them? Because if we don't be following these guidelines, we could break some functionality like offline mode.
Sure, I'll do that.
Okay,
Ishan,
thank you.
one last
if you need
question
maybe some help from my side.
Yeah, go ahead, Vishwajit.
Ishan, can you hear me? Yeah. I was asking is there any documentation or something? Actually, I wanted to know how actually the APIs are working in the backend, in the Android client, so that I can work more precisely and understand things more clearly.
So I think we'll have to wrap up this call. We are going over an hour. So what you can do is you can probably ping me over Skype, or you can write an email to me, and I'll let you know how things will go.
Sure. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Okay, well, thank you everybody for joining our meeting today, especially to our Outreachy interns for their showcases. We'll share the link to the recording once it's uploaded, as well as a link to the slides. So looking forward to connecting with all via our communication channels. Everybody have a good day, afternoon, or evening, wherever you might be. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for joining Intern Showcases.
Bye-bye.